Okay, so we're going to finish off today the words of the Ohr HaChaim as he's describing the way in which BECHIRA, our free will, is going to work. And he says like this, that Hashem's withholding of his knowledge of the future deeds of the wicked does not make them wicked, meaning the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't know what exactly they're going to do. It's not what makes them wicked, rather it makes them free, says the Ohr HaChaim over here. Meaning the more that HaKadosh Baruch Hu withholds his knowledge from the actions that you're going to make, it doesn't allow the wicked person to become a wicked person. On the other hand, you would not have become a wicked person unless you chose to become the wicked person. So therefore, by concealing myself, says Hashem, and not looking carefully at everything that you're doing, and contracting myself, as we described from the Arizal, which means that I'm really not there watching everything that's going on, so to speak, that is itself what gives you BECHIRA, what gives you freedom. And therefore, the thing that we're calling Yediyah, which is the divine foreknowledge, it does not eliminate free will. It appears like it does, as the Rambam explains, and only the wicked will take the appearance too far. Meaning, if I live in a world where there is no foreknowledge at all, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has no idea what's happening, so then we would have to say clearly over there that there's going to be free will, because Hashem doesn't know, so therefore I can decide to do whatever I want. The wicked themselves, and this really is going to come to explain it more in depth today, but the Rishonim, the wicked of this world, when they are looking at HaKadosh Baruch Hu's involvement, they're saying that Hashem is way too involved in the world. He doesn't give me the room to move around over here. And so HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, so I'll just tell you, I'm not going to watch anything that you do, because you think that I'm getting in your way. And you think that I'm deciding exactly what you're going to do. I don't decide anything. That's what we learned already in the early days from the Rambam. I'm not deciding anything. You are making every decision for yourself. But since that you would like to blame me for your wickedness and your shortcomings and your faults and your mistakes, says Hashem, so you know what? I am just going to remove myself from your life. You won't see me at all, says Hashem. And that way, you have no claims that it's me that caused you to do what you're doing. You're doing everything all by yourself. And on the other hand, we said by the tzaddikim, by the righteous, they're very happy, as we're going to see. They're very happy to have Hashem involved in their life, and a parent in their life, and part of their life. That makes them very happy. So therefore, the fact that Hashem is there, and He's watching, and He's aware, and Hashem knows everything, it doesn't take away from the fact that I have free will. That's the paradox that we're living with over here. I have free will, and Hashem is right here along the way, every step that I take. Now, says the Ohr HaChaim, as a result of this, that Hashem conceals Himself from the actions of the wicked. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu was able to say, at the end of the story of creation, after man had become so bad on the land, that's why it's able to say, V'yinachem Hashem, He regretted, ki asa es ha'adam, that He made man ba'aretz, on the land, v'yis'atze ve'libo, and he had sadness in his heart. How can Hashem do that if HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows everything? Because when it comes to the wicked, that's what we're saying over here, Hashem in fact conceals His knowledge. So therefore, when He wakes up, so to speak, and He sees just how terrible mankind has fallen, that's why He has regret, and He has pain, and that's why it hurts HaKadosh Baruch Hu that that's what happened to the world. Now, the Ohr HaChaim, it's important to note over here, the Ohr HaChaim is not offering a resolution to the paradox, meaning the paradox of Hashem knows everything, nothing will happen without Hashem, and yet it doesn't take away from your free will. So how does that work? It seems to be the greatest contradiction in the world. So don't think that the Ohr HaChaim was coming to answer that and say it's not really a paradox. He says in the very beginning of his comments that the Rambam was correct in the way that he says there is a paradox. It's intrinsic and inherent in the world, and that's something that we can't resolve. So what is the Ohr HaChaim coming to teach us then? He's giving us insight into the modes of divine conduct the way that Hashem is mashkiach, the way that He's watching over everything and He maneuvers and manipulates everything, that's experienced by the righteous and by the wicked. As we're pointing out, each one will experience this world in a very different way. And that means the following. The tzaddikim, the righteous, they relate much more closely to Hashem's knowledge. And therefore they're close to Him. And they experience less contraction, less of HaKadosh Baruch Hu concealing Himself, contracting Himself, and hiding Himself. And that's what they want. Tzaddikim want to live in a world where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is right here with them. They want to live in a world where His Shechina, His divine presence, is manifested in my life, where it's revealed. That is exactly what they want. However, when it comes to the Rishonim, to the wicked, they have distanced themselves, and therefore they prefer to remain distanced. They experience less, and they perceive a greater darkness in which their independence from Hashem appears more solid. So the Rishonim would like to, the Rishonim have to live in a world where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is more concealed, and you don't see Him in your life, and they will blame everything on the darkness, and things don't work out the way that they want because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not here, and therefore says the way the Rav Tatz is explaining it, and it is that their independence from Hashem seems to be much more, even though it's not true. Meaning we're all independent from Hashem. Just that by the tzaddikim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is right here showing us, I'm involved in your life. Now, after all, since that they set themselves at a distance from Hashem, so then Hashem's response, remember, Hashem always responds, midah keneged midah, measure for measure. The way that we treat Him, that's the way that He's going to treat us. That's why the Chazal tell us, the sages teach us a mashal, the following parable, that Hashem is like a shadow. Hashem tzilcha al yad yaminecha. Hashem is your tzilcha. He's your shadow. Says the Midrash, what does that mean? Whatever you do, your shadow is going to do. If you wave your hand, so the shadow waves its hand. If you jump up and down, so the shadow jumps up and down. If you crouch, the shadow is going to crouch. If you run, it will run as well. Wherever you go, the shadow is going to go. Hashem is our shadow. That means that whatever we do, HaKadosh Baruch Hu just shadows or mimics, so to speak, what we do. So if we are acting in a way that's trying to bring us closer to Hashem, so then He will shadow us, He will echo our actions, and He will come close to us. If we're looking for Hashem to be involved in our lives, Hashem will say, I'm right here, I'm in your life. But if we're running away from Hashem, and we're trying to distance ourselves from Hashem, and we don't want to live with that awareness that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is watching every single detail in our lives, so then Hashem says, the way that you are acting towards me, my shadow experience is going to act the same way towards you. I'm going to distance myself as well. And therefore he's writing over here that since that the Rishoyim, the wicked of this world, have made themselves at a distance to Hashem, so then the midah keneged midah, the response of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is, He's going to relate to them from a distance as well. However, when it comes to the tzaddikim, to the more righteous individuals, so they experience the closest to Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's knowledge is much more manifest for them than their sense of their own independence. I have no problem that I'm not fully independent. I have no problem acknowledging that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is running the world and sets up every single detail in my life the way that it is, and all that I could possibly do for myself is measure my response, or how I'm going to respond to a certain thing. And even there, our sages tell us that when a person will find themselves in a very uncomfortable challenge, personal struggle and challenge in their life, where perhaps maybe the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, or the pressures of the world are very, very strong on them, and it really seems impossible to overcome and make the right decision. Even if I do buckle down and I make the right decision, so the Gemara says, if Hashem would not have been the one that helped us, we never would have been successful. So I have no problem, as a righteous person, says Rav Tatz, acknowledging that all of my success is hinging on my relationship with Hashem. If I'm connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so then I could be successful. If I'm distant from Hashem, then Hashem says, you distance, I'm going to be distant as well. So you're on your own. The wicked have to feel that because of what they have done to create the wedge between them and Hashem, that they are really acting on their own volition, and therefore they are completely responsible for their actions, and that is why they will be punished for the things that they do wrong. A tzaddik, a more righteous person who has an emunah, who believes in Hashem, he's not going in the ways of wickedness, so that person, he believes strongly in the appearance or the essence or the manifestation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in his life, and therefore he knows he's never going through life by himself. Hashem is always right here along the way, and it doesn't bother my free will that HaKadosh Baruch Hu helps me or that he's with me. It just strengthens my free will to be able to make better decisions in my life. And therefore that's what the righteous are seeking, and that's what they're going to find. However, the Rishoyim, the wicked, they're always attempting to escape the closeness of the divine of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and they don't want that awareness, they don't want that immanence of Hashem, and if they would have it, they would only misuse it. And therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he denies his full revelation to them. Why would I reveal myself, says Hashem, to people that are going to misuse the power of my Kedusha, of my holiness, of my eminence? And therefore, since that they are setting up a life where they're trying to stay away, I'll keep them at a distance. What does that mean? You're on your own. And therefore, because that you're going to feel completely on your own and independent, that's why even you, the wicked, will have to admit that you only made decisions because of BECHIRA, of your free will, not because Hashem is the one that enforced it. And by the tzaddik and by the righteous, so they have no problem acknowledging the presence of Hashem in their lives. They're actually comforted and they feel empowered by having more of the Shekhinah, more of the divine presence there. And it gives them strength to make better decisions. The more clarity that a person has, the more spiritual awareness that a person is in tune with, the more of the revelation of the Shekhinah that a person sees in their life, the clearer their mind is working and their eyes are seeing, therefore they'll be able to make a better decision. And the tzaddikim, the righteous, they're very happy with that because their goal in life is to make the right choices and do the right thing. So that's the way that the Rabbi Tatz explains the Ohr HaChaim, and really the Ohr HaChaim is just once again just putting everything in perspective, how our BECHIRA, our free will, is actually going to work, again, in the best way that the small human brain can possibly understand. So that's the Ohr HaChaim. We still did not finish over here in the opinions or the explanations of our sages. We still have a few left to do over here. We have 4 or 5. We have 5 more approaches that are going to, again, try to explain in different nuances how we understand the paradox, how it works. And Be'ez Hashem, on Wednesday, we will pick up with the next of those when we learn. So that's Wednesday. I guess we'll see what the weather's going to be like on Wednesday. And if it's similar to today, we'll be on Zoom again. And if the roads are not flooded and they're dry, then I'll see you in person. All the best, everyone.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome. You're welcome.